Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my Tian. Oh. Welcome to my July TBR. Today we're going to talk about all the books that I have plans to read for July. Now, in case you don't know, July is a very important month just for the world in general because it was the month that I was born, that I was brought into this world and thus blessed you with my face. You're welcome. In case you don't know, in case you weren't aware, my reading tastes right now are quite specific. Tiffany, in case you missed it, I did post a manga haul. I will link it up above and down below. But in that video, I talked about my newest obsession, fixation, and I revealed my new personality. A lot of the books we're going to talk about today have to do with my new personality. That is as a rotten woman, somebody who really loves reading yaoi, and boys love manga. We're also going to talk about a few horror novels and stuff. For the most part, I've chosen just a bunch of manga, just as like a forewarning in case you don't care about that. But if you do, stick around. We're gonna have fun today, won't we, Tiffany? Let's get started. First things first, I'm the realist. Second things first, for my Patreon, which by the way, in case you want to join, you can. On my Patreon, we have reading sprints, there's early access to content, there's extra content that's not seen on YouTube. We have a lot of fun over on the Patreon. So if you're interested, please check out the link in my description. It's a great way to support me and the channel, and it's a great way to get extra stuff out of me if you just want it. Anyway, okay, for the Patreon book club, we're reading Pinata by Leopoldo Gout, which I'm so excited to read because I've been really wanting to read it for a while. We have a special guest in July, somebody named Sergio Gomez. Sergio is a horror author who I adore. First of all, he's one of the first people in the book sphere, specifically the horror sphere, that I befriended, and especially after I read Camp Slaughter. I'm so excited that he's going to be joining us for the book club. I think we're going to have so much fun. We have really good banter, me and Sergio, so I'm really excited for our discussion. Sergio Gomez is going to be joining us for our book club in July. Stunning. Now, in case you don't know, you're like, what is Pinata? Pinata is about this woman. She goes to Mexico for this job, right? To work as a construction manager. And she brings along with her kids. One of them is 5, the other one is 15. She's in Mexico, her kids are with her, and she's really trying to be look at all this cool cultural stuff. And her kids are literally, no, hate it. Part of the reason, and not only just for work, that she's in Mexico is because she wants to show her kids the culture and the values. And then she gets fired from her job. Yeah, it's a bummer. She goes back to America, right, with her kids. Oh no, they get back in America and a Mexican deity god malevolent spirit thing has attached itself to her family and is now haunting them. I'm so excited to read this. It's been on my TBR for forever. I also, in July, really want to do a feminine rage reading vlog. My feminine rage chooses my TBR kind of vibe. Spoiler alert, I've already done a feminine rage reading vlog, but it didn't go well. I want to do it again. The books I have chosen are one, Ladies' Night by Jack Ketchum. Jack Ketchum, in case you don't know, is literally a horror icon. Ladies' Night, I had never heard of this book. What really caught my attention though was the little cover on Audible. The audiobook is only 4 hours long. And listen, look at that. Look at it. I saw that and I was like, I hate it. But it's also strangely satisfying to look at. I don't know why. Ladies' Night's about a little neighborhood, a little town. The women in this place, in many places, are subservient to the men, right? The men go to work, women cook and clean, take care of the kids, blah, 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 blah. It's boring. And then this outbreak of a disease of some sort happens. The women who catch this virus, this disease, become ultra violent. And who do they attack? Who do they render obsolete? That was a weird way of saying that. The men. They kill the men, and it's a bloodbath, apparently. Jack Ketchum does something with violence and with hyper-violence I just can't get enough of. I love it. It's almost desensitizing. I remember when I read Off Season, at first it's so jarring, so towards the end of the novel, it was her arms were cut off, her legs were cut off, her nipples were cut off, her nose was pierced. It was like that, and I was just Jack Ketchum has this way of lulling you into complicity with the gore Anyway, I'm really excited. I'm gonna read that for the Feminine Rage reading vlog. And then the other book that I'm gonna read for the Feminine Rage reading vlog is Maeve Fly. I'm a bit nervous about this book, to be honest. I don't know if it actually is like feminine rage as much as it is just about a woman losing her mind or becoming like a psychopath or acting out her psychopathy. I don't know. I barely know what it's about, to be honest with you, Tiffany. I'm excited to read it. And I've had people tell me it does fit the feminine rage category. If you have read it, please let me know down below what you thought of it. I would love to know your opinion and if you think it matches or can fit into a feminine rage genre, subgenre thing. I have 2 books that I very randomly chose. One of them is a reread for me, and that is The Trouble with Goats and Sheep. This, in case you don't know, is a contemporary literary fiction novel / like mystery novel. Why do I look so good with this book? Also, I just really feel these cat ears. They are too freaking cute. Anyway, okay. I'm like literally obsessed with myself. Anyway, The Trouble with Goats and Sheep, from what I remember, is about 2 girls. Grace and Tilly are just children, right? It's 1976 and Grace and Tilly are playing around, you know? These are just young girls. They're probably like 8, maybe 10 or something like that. And they learn that Mrs. Creasy from down the road has gone missing. Miss Creasy, where'd you go? And Grace and Tilly, being the smart, clever girls that they are, decide, let's find Miss Creasy. Let's have an investigation. So these little girls go around their neighborhood, right? Just knocking on doors like, hey, Mr. Morrison, when did you last see Miss Creasy? People are like, nah. These little girls unknowingly start to turn wheels. Even though these people seem nice, they seem normal, they all have done a lot of fuck shit. And none of them want to admit to that. I love this book so much and I really want to reread it because I lent it to my friend and she read it and she was like, I loved it. It was so good. And I was like, oh my God, I need to reread it because there's so much about it that I don't remember. I just remember Grace and Tilly being absolutely hilarious and adorable. And I remember finding everything so interesting. And the fact that the story is told from the point of view of these children about these like very mischievous, very like evil adults who were just like living like, you know, in their normal little houses, going completely unrecognized, was so interesting and so good. Let me know in the comments if you've read this before and what you thought of it. The other book, which actually kind of matches, Memorial by Brian Washington. I've had this book for a few months and I haven't read it yet because I haven't really felt ready to. But I feel like with my new personality, I feel like I'm ready. This is about Benson and Mike, right? Benson and Mike have been dating for a while, but their relationship has kind of gone a little bit stale. They go with the motions. They go to work, they come home, they make dinner together, they talk about their day, whatever. But they're starting to feel like, is this maybe too comfortable? But then Mike finds out that his estranged father is dying in Japan, which is where his parents are from. Mike is like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Japan. You stay here with my mom. And he goes to Japan while his mother stays with Benson. Benson, in one fell swoop, really like loses his boyfriend, but gets a roommate of an elderly Japanese woman. Both men will change in ways that will either make them stronger together or fracture everything they've ever known. I'm really excited to read this. It sounds so funny, but also so touching and heartbreaking. The last like novel before we get to the manga that I want to read is one that I've heard really, really good things about, and I've seen it in the bookstore and I keep seeing it in the bookstore. And each time I see it, I'm like, I should just get that because I'm gonna love it. Like, I'm gonna love it. Why wouldn't I get it? I should just get it. But I never actually get it. Taste of Gold and Iron. You look at this cover, right? You're like, first of all, stunning, gorgeous, immaculate, perfect. This is like a fantasy romance mystery book. This is about 2 dudes, right? One of them is like a prince, I think. And he is kind of like in trouble. His sister is like the queen and he's like humiliated in some way. To like gain back his power, he decides like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna find out who's been breaking in to the castle and stuff along with this guy. And this guy happens to be his like bodyguard, which, you know, Tiffany, is my bread and my butter. This is my bread. This is the butter. I'm spreading it. His hot bodyguard, who, by the way, also doesn't really seem to like him very much. So perhaps it's a bodyguard, gay, enemies to lovers romance. I'm so excited, dude. I can't wait for the manga that I want to read. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, my best friend, Samantha, who also has a YouTube channel called My Manga Space, you should go follow her, especially if you like manga. She is coming to visit me in July. And when she comes, she said that she was going to bring with her Skip and Loafer. I'm so excited, Tiffany. Skip and Loafer is about this girl who lives out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. She lives in like a little small tiny town. She has really big dreams about being in government, about being a politician, about being someone important who can make big changes in this area, in her area. She decides, you know what, I'm gonna go to Tokyo, to the big city, to get like a high school, like a fancy high school education, so I can fulfill my dreams of making a difference in my area, in this town. She goes off to high school and she meets this guy and they become very fast friends. And then hijinks, romance ensues. I can't even aptly describe to you what's so special about this. Like, I watched the anime, as you might know, and I fell in love with it. And I need to read the manga, need to. I have volume 2, but I don't have the rest of the series. One of the highlights of Sam's visit is me finally getting to catch up with the manga. Cause I just want to see them kiss. I know that we're BL girlies, right? But I'm also like a Yuri kind of girl. It's a little girly Yuri girl. A little girly Yuri girly. A little Yuri girly, okay? I love women so much. I'm so fucking gay. But I really want to read this series because it has been on my TBR for so long, and it's been like one of those series where I'm like, the moment I get to it, I know I'm gonna love it, and if I don't love it, then like something's wrong. And that is If I Could Reach You. So this is volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, volume 6. There are more volumes, but these are the ones that I own right now. Look at these spines. They're so pretty. If you're like, Jordaline, what is that even about? I'm holding all of them, by the way. Why am I holding all of them? This is about this girl. Her brother gets married to this beautiful woman. It's really not great for her because she happens to be in love with his brother's wife. And then she ends up also moving into his brother's house along with her wife, his wife rather. Listen, I'm excited not only because I really like the dynamic of somebody really forbidden, and not only in just like the sense that like they're the same gender as you, but also the fact that it's your brother's like wife. I was gonna say sister, you. I had a friend read it, at least the first volume, and she said that it was just sad. I hope it's not too depressing. I hope there is some romance. I'm really excited to read it because I also think the art style is absolutely gorgeous. Another manga series that I'm really interested in is not necessarily like a BL manga. Like, it's not really that gay. It's only gay in the sense that like the characters are talking about gay things. BL Metamorphosis. There are 5 volumes. This is volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5. This, from what I know, is about a girl. I think she's in her 20s. She meets this older woman, this one. They bond on their love of BL and like gay manga. And that's the entire story. It's like the beautiful friendship between these two women who just love reading about little gay boys. I'm so excited to read this. I've also owned this for so long, and yet for some reason, I've never picked it up. Why? Why, Tiffany? And then finally, the last thing I want to talk to you about is this manga called 7 Days, Monday to Sunday. This is about this 3rd year high school student who asks out this 1st year high school student. And I think the 1st year student has this reputation of asking someone out and then a week later dumping them, and doing that every week. And so he asks him out, and it says the boys start dating, and by Tuesday the first inkling of attraction hits. Listen, this I think is pretty famous. Like, a lot of people really like this story. I have read this manga before. I read Count 10, which I did enjoy some of it. 10 Count though was like weird because there was like a lot of dubious consent, but I did read that. I'm excited to read this and to see if I like it any more or any less. My friends, my family, my familia, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time, appreciate your energy, appreciate your little vibe, your little face. I love it. What am I talking about? Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit subscribe because we talk about spooky shit, talk about creepy shit, talk about yaoi, talk about boys' love. We talk about living with an elderly Japanese woman. What is this accent? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Au revoir. Goodbye.
7 days since she left, I'm still amazed. The way she dressed, I mean, woof. The way she smelled, made my every cell scream rum bum bum bum. Huh. Who knew what Tinder date could make me feel this way? Now I'm in love and I'm ready to play. Wrote her a text like, hey baby, do you wanna hang out? But then she goes, she run around, run around, run around, run around, run around.